Okie dokie. So it's another beautiful day in Courtenay, British Columbia. We're all in Darren's house in our lovely studio. Guys, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the demo we did at Clever Crow a couple of days ago.
Yes, no, so I wasn't able to attend. I had an immigration emergency.
Right.
I did deliver John his knives, and I saw Clever Crow Farm in Black Creek. It's gorgeous.
Right? Gorgeous.
I'd love to know how it went.
Well, let's get cooking.
Okay.
Do you ever wonder where your food comes from? That's what got us started on this adventure.
In each episode, we ask experts to weigh in on the food topics that matter to you, from growers to producers to chefs.
And I challenge John, Darren, and you to learn more about your food and the stories behind it. From our hub on Vancouver Island in the beautiful Comox Valley, join us as we explore our edible valley.
Okie dokie. Well, a very good day to you. This is the Edible Valley podcast. My name is William. I'm the producer.
And I'm Chef Jonathon Fraser.
And I'm the dishwasher, Darren Howlett.
You're the dishwasher now. Oh, you got that.
Well, yeah, if you listen to the episode, or if you listen to the full unedited episode, you'll hear that's where I got my start. We could talk. I'm doing the dishes throughout the thing. I guess I'm the dishwasher now.
You are a versatile chap.
All right.
Darren talks and cleans dishes.
Okie dokie. Well, I'd love to know how it went at Clever Crow Farm.
Well, I would like to say I think it was successful.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I probably lost about 3 pounds in sweat. It was definitely warm out there.
Oh my
but
goodness.
we had-
He was in
wow.
full blacks in the hot afternoon sun and cooking up a storm.
Well, and you know what? It's funny because it's amazing chef jacket technology.
Right.
Because I came there in a t-shirt and started setting up, and I just started sweating.
Right.
And then I switched over and put that chef
fun.
jacket on, and it was like, oh, actually, this
Job
is
done.
nice and
Wow.
nice and relaxed.
Well-
so it was working a lot for me. So
Great.
I mean, listeners could be listening at any time. It could be January and -10. You could be anywhere in the world. In British Columbia, in the summer of 2021, we had our hottest ever day in the interior. It was 47.
47.
Yeah.
In one village in the interior, hotter than it ever has been in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The hottest day ever in Canada, and here on the island, it's been at times in the low 40s.
Yes.
It's 39, 40
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah.
So that's our situation right now. John isn't just a sweaty guy; he's so much more.
it wasn't nerves. It was actually temperature. So good for tubing around here. But
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I think that what we've done is we've cut it up a bit so that we've got a bit of some clips, some highlights, and just of our experience there. But there is a full 2 hours, and we'll get into that later, where people can hear that whole 2 hours.
I would like to start off by painting a picture
Please do.
of this. So you turn down into the Clever Crow Farm,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and you go down into the to their storefront there, and just to the side on the right hand side of the store, they set up a couple tents, and we had 10 chairs set up there for our guests, and then I had a couple tables set up, a demonstration table, and I had a nice 3-burner out there so that I could do some frying and cook some great food there. And then it was like, yeah, we had a little sink in the back so we could keep clean, a couple coolers underneath the table, which was great because everything was in their walk-in cooler
Right.
beforehand, and so I was able to bring it all over just to do the classes, so everything was like nice and well refrigerated
And everything, being midsummer, everything was so green.
Yeah.
Light breeze in the air. I mean, it was just
Everything was at
gorgeous.
peak season.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think, what did we start with, John? Do you remember?
Well, that was just grabbing my
Oh, you're grabbing your
menus
recipes.
and
Yeah.
recipes, and like as we're doing podcasts, I'm like not prepared. Okay, so yeah, like I did 3 courses basically.
Yeah.
Well, 3. Yeah, we'll say 3 courses. I started off with a salad trio. So we did
That's
a
right.
traditional, I did a cucumber salad, which I added a little fresh fennel to and dill in a yogurt. Actually, it's supposed to be in a sour cream, but I did a yogurt sauce. And then I did a spiced carrot salad, which was nice because we had some pureed raisins on the bottom of that with some nice Courtney cheddar on top, like a nice sharp cheese to go
Courtney
with it.
cheddar. I was looking at that. That's in Thrifties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big supermarket.
It's beautiful, and it's also a block from my house.
Nice.
And then we did, of course, a traditional warm potato salad. So that was my kind of, because it was all a German theme, because I was
Right.
going back to my roots. For our second course, we did schnitzel. So I did a nice breaded schnitzel, and I did a little zucchini goulash, which is
Right.
sort of a little twist on a Hungarian goulash. So like a rich paprika, tomato based with a whole bunch of fresh zucchinis, because it's zucchini season out there right now with the warm temperature. And then we finished off with a traditional apple strudel. And of course, went back to my little bit of ice cream roots and did a little Tree Island yogurt, frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
With
Gorgeous.
that, with some fresh raspberries. From
And
my
and
garden.
I want to point out, I was actually talking to my daughter after this when she asked how the episode went or how the demo went. And John managed to cook or put together 8 recipes, being the strudel, the ice cream, the schnitzel, the breading, the salads, the dressings. In under 2 hours, he did all of this. I was like, I would be hard pressed to get halfway through there.
Yeah.
In that time. So, and not only that, but he made a great show of it. We had some really great interactions with the guests.
I had a great dishwasher who was actually able to keep that conversation going. So it was, we had a great time. So
Yeah.
And these guys, I dumped them in it at the last minute. I had an immigration emergency that I had to go and get some fingerprints done. I've just applied for my permanent residency here in Canada, and I had to get something done by a deadline, and I had absolutely no choice. And these guys, they just went for it. They were just like, right, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, that, and the other. It was an hour before it was happening. So thank you very much. And, it's
Just-
a really good thing.
Just glad that it worked out. Glad that you were able to get to the thing that you needed to be at when you needed to be there. That's most important. So.
And for the class, most importantly, you brought my knives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You always, whenever you do something like this, you always leave something behind.
Yeah.
And I was literally like,
Oh, I did leave something behind. I didn't even think of that. I left some of the ice cream was left over, and he's like, "Why don't you take this to your daughter for her birthday?" Because it was her birthday, and we were about to make dinner.
Nice.
And I left it. Of course, I forgot it.
So Brian,
What did you forget?
Well, no, I forgot my knives to originally
Oh, I
get
see.
there.
Okay,
So, and I know that I gave Leah a beautiful paring knife, because that's my kind of trait that every time I go somewhere, I leave a paring knife. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that's why I don't buy $50 paring knives anymore.
So that's it. So if John ever visits your house, you can have a cheap paring knife left for you.
So we've kind of cut together some highlights for you to listen to, really pertaining to sort of the overall mood and feel, and touching on technique and entertainment value. And we'll hope you give it a listen. It should be, I think we're trying to put about 15 minutes together here of, you get a real accurate feeling of what this happened.
Yeah, well, I thought we could at least just describe to Will.
Sure.
What he
Yeah,
missed,
because
let's go
I
over
read
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well-
Okay. Right. Well, so here we go.
Well, I just wanted to say, thanks everyone for coming out on a nice hot summer afternoon. This is John Fraser and Darren. I can't remember your last name.
Howlett.
Darren Howlett, yes.
That's right.
John's one of the current chefs at Locals Restaurant.
Yep.
And Darren, you work at Locals Restaurant. You
I
also
do.
have a toy company. You
Yeah.
do lots of different things.
Yeah, I have
whole
a
bunch of-
small catering business I've been doing for about 8 years as well, and then we have this podcast.
Yeah, and you've been how many years have you been doing the podcast for?
This is my 8th year, but John's 9th. John and
Yes.
Blaine started it, and then Blaine bowed out, and I came in.
And Brian and I used to live beside John on 12th Street, downtown Courtney.
Yeah.
And I think we were the second guest or third guest. or
You were
something
the
on your-
second episode.
The second
Or
episode.
Brian was the second episode.
Okay.
And then I think you were like the 6th episode.
They included you as well. I think we've been on like 3 times.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
They have
exactly,
us on every couple of years to check up on what's
Well, you
new
guys
with
do
the
something
Kevin Crowe.
different all the time. Like first,
Yeah.
we did. First
so,
of
so
all,
we've known each other for quite some time.
yes.
And finally we got Jonathan to come and do a cooking class. We thought it would be a really fun idea to turn it into a podcast as well. Like, that's, I don't know, pretty neat stuff. And here is Barb. Hi, Barb. You're just in time.
They gave us a great, generous introduction. John went into a bit of an overview as to how the day was going to go, and what he was going to be doing. And and then that brought up immediately we got into some questions with some of our longtime listeners that happened to be in the audience.
Great.
Okay, so there's that.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for coming out today. I have to be honest, I haven't done any cooking classes for a while. I guess about a year. And before that, I was actually doing cooking classes with Lush Valley, and I was doing kids cooking classes, which was a definite challenge and super exciting because we had 9 to 14-year-olds, and we'd give them frying pans and make pancakes and soup and all this fun stuff. So this will be a little bit more relaxed, and we get to go back to, and I said this as my roots, and I will admit I am not German in any way, but my daughter is Austrian. So I've got a little bit connection there, and also when I started off my career, I started off at the Kingfisher Inn, and I did my apprenticeship under Lucas Stiefvater, who was the owner of the place there. So I learned many things about schnitzels. We did a lot of schnitzel madness back in the day, and twice a year we'd do a month of every schnitzel starting from $9.95 and 10 different choices. And so
delicious.
I spent a lot of time cleaning pork loins and going through all those different avenues of it. And so I thought, why not try a little cooking class and do some of those things? And I'm going to try and power through this in 2 hours and hopefully you really enjoy some of these things. And I thought, definitely being down here on the farm, I thought what an excellent way to use some of the products around here and use some of the local foods. So that's where I kind of had this image of a Heutigen, which is from Austria, where they have it's a wine bar sort of, but the restaurant, they created restaurants with wines, but they can only serve what's in there off their own property. So I thought that's a nice way to start. So that's why I'm gonna go through our little dinner or samples today. So I thought I'd do a little salad 3-course here. So we're gonna do a course of warm potato salad. I've got this spiced carrot salad that I've wanted to do for the longest time. So we're gonna play with that. And then of course, the classic cucumber salad, which I'm adding a little bit of fennel because we've got that here. After that, I'm gonna bounce around, but we're gonna start off, we're gonna do a little second course is gonna be schnitzel. And I thought I'd do a little goulash and do something with some paprika and zucchini, because you always have lots of zucchini, especially growing up in this area. It's always the one thing. And then I thought I'd finish off with a little bit of apple strudel. And since some of you know me for my ice cream, I went and did, since I got some Tree Island yogurt, I did a nice little frozen yogurt. So we'll show you how to do all of those, and we can all enjoy that. Feel free to ask any questions, and I'll go from there.
As we were doing a bit of an overview of what we were doing, we had some some of our listeners ask a couple of questions about the show and how we got to be.
Some of my favorite episodes, man. I really like, and I miss that we haven't been doing them lately, is the interviews with just the different guests like we've had.
We've done almost a year of just coming up with our own content in our kitchen and living room because we couldn't have guests. So it's been, can't wait to get guests again.
To get the guests back in, and we get to play around with that. So.
But Brian and Leah are always fun. They're always like super fun to talk to, and Arzina is always fun to talk to. And
one that always sticks in my head was we talked to, and this was before you.
Yeah.
Was Middle Mountain Mead was Heather.
I was just gonna say that. That's a pretty lively episode.
Yeah, and it was one of the first episodes, but it was funny because I think we talked to her for about an hour and a half. Like it just kept going and going. Like we just kept finding different subjects, and after the hour and a half, then it was. Then we turned the mics off and we're like, that was good, and then sat there for another hour and a half and chatted some more, and I was like.
Yeah.
That was Heather from Middle Mountain Mead. And I have not
They're
honestly
from Hornby, right?
on Hornby
Yeah, on
Island.
Hornby.
Yeah, and so she came over. So maybe she just didn't want to go back to Hornby.
Then at that point, John went into some deeper techniques about what he was going to be using, maybe some methods that people hadn't really
Nice.
thought of.
Yeah.
You know what I got really excited when we were listening to this?
Yeah.
Is that the sound effects in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a blender.
Yeah, well, and there's like the mandolin. You hear the
Yeah, the chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably. I don't know. I mean, I think that John wants to get this pretty pureed, so I don't know if he'd be good with a masher, but
Yeah,
Like-
you definitely something to puree it to really mix it up because you
Yeah.
want to have a bit of paste.
like really any tool. Like if you don't have an immersion blender or a blender, I bet you. I don't know. What could you do?
You could definitely strain it and chop it.
Yeah, I was
really
gonna say,
fine
you
as-
chop
as
and chop
fast
and
as
chop.
possible, and then do that. This is kind of just the base for this one. The next one on this one is I took a bunch of carrot juice. So I brought this from. I did this at home in my own juicer, but you definitely could go into a grocery market and get the fresh squeeze there. And it's just a bit of the puree, or just a bit of reduced, and then we've got our little.
Do you want to turn that so people can see it?
Yeah. So just kind of reduce it down.
Yeah, and then somebody asked, we were generally talking about the industry, the food industry, now that COVID restrictions are starting to ease up a bit, and specifically asked how things were going for us at Locals.
At Locals, yeah. And how are things going for you, Will, at Atlas?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Atlas, I mean, I don't know what is going on at your end. Very busy.
Yeah.
Really busy.
Yeah, we get into that here.
Great.
Yeah.
How's Locals been doing during the last 18 months?
Yeah, I think it's actually grown. Like it's,
Great.
you know, I can't say anything about the actual dollar numbers, or dollar figure, but you know, Trish and Renaud just put on a new patio out front, like, which was another 30 seats.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and right now it's crazy. Like, it's crazy busy there. So, it's great for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really enjoy.
Yeah. And there's no end of things to look at. I mean, the building itself is beautiful. Out the gardens are beautiful. Like you're by the river. It's a beautiful place.
And what did I say? Scallions.
Sorry, yeah, we're pulling this off. Sorry.
And then we get to John doing a bit about the equipment used, including the lack of equipment when you're reaching for it. Okay. all of a sudden, he needed a spoon. There were none to be had.
We're a little disorganized. But it was an organized mess, let's just say that.
Yeah, actually, I was really surprised. You had almost every base covered, but the spoon.
Yeah. You know what you could ask Leah for me?
Sure.
It's super helpful that I don't have. Is spoons.
Spoons.
Yeah.
For eating or for you for
For
dishing?
tasting, I
Okay.
think. That's my...
I don't even know where Leah is at this moment.
Should be just inside the door.
Here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a whole bunch of spoons right there.
Oh, there we go. Just a couple. No, I'm more thinking of that I need to try some stuff. There's yeah. My favorite thing about cooking is I get to sample as I go along. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that smells fantastic. Okay, so let's recap here. You did potatoes,
Little potatoes, warm potatoes.
parsley, you've got your red onion, and this reduction, which was stock and vinegar. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. I don't know if anybody can see that. That's the beginning of the seasoning. I mean, everybody will see everything after, but just so you can see what's going on in the middle.
Yeah. And so now with all these salads would be great to sit for a little while. You could do them up ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely rushing them because, well, I want to first of all show you how I'm doing some of the process, and then you can actually see it. So
You ready? And sorry, I have to interject here. I've forced John to include this bit. We literally talk about how he's very humble about all of his achievements. And as we're talking about them here, he was trying to cut this out. But I've forced him to keep it in.
it happens.
Got your ice cream
He's very humble about the things he's achieved. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ace Brewing was a lot of fun because they actually would give us their beer, and then we'd create.
Anytime somebody's giving you beer,
Yeah, I'm always
it's a good
happy.
trade.
But I was taking their beer and reducing it down and adding it into an ice cream. So it would have that the hoppy flavor in the ice cream or a malty flavor depending on the beers.
I'm gonna start passing some.
Plate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm gonna
Yeah.
start passing some of these around.
Yeah.
And I guess what's good for the goose is good for the gander because then we somewhat covered mine. My achievements
A little bit of
later.
things Darren's has done over the years. Yeah, it's a big list when we start going through.
I
it.
know.
It's a little, you
Yeah,
know.
it feels like you're kind of patting yourself on your own back, but
About you had people that would just show up with baskets. That reminds me back. I used to work at Gourmet by the Sea way back. It was my first serving job. Way back. Oh yeah. Yeah. I worked there for 5 years. I started working there. I think I was 16, 17, and they hired me as a dishwasher and then trained me as a bartender when I was 18, which they should have. And then as soon as I turned 19, they put me on the floor. But we went on a camping trip, and our boss, the first night of the camping trip, we were all like, okay, so he's like, I've got dinner planned, like all the dinners are planned by me, you guys are gonna have to do your own lunches. And so the first night, that was just it. He was like, he just sent everybody to go pick things and grab this and go that, and nobody knew what any of this stuff was, and we literally ate off the beach. We went to Tree Island, and we picked some oysters. I don't know if we were supposed to. And we had sea asparagus, and we had a salad made out of the greens there. Like, it was fantastic, and that's literally the moment that my eyes opened up to food. I was just like, oh my god, we live in a place where food is all around us. And that's what started. That's what Edible Valley is. It's sort of exploring all that food around us.
okay. And then a part that even I was surprised that we would be doing, I wasn't even aware. John breaks out pastry and decides he's going to make strudel from scratch, or not even pastry, the flour bag. Starts making strudel from scratch.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And we got into some measuring. And I have to admit, the dough I made in front of everyone was not very nice. Like, I pre-made the dough.
Right.
That's the old magic of television.
Here's one I made.
Here's
He had
the
he had a
bowl.
pre-made.
Yeah. And I'm like,
And
this is
so
what
you had planned it.
I had planned that a bit
Nice.
ahead. So.
Right. And then the dough, or the other ingredients.
And then it's just a little bit of oil and salt.
Okay.
And basically, we're just going to make a very, very...
And so this isn't about exact, it's about consistency, right?
Yeah.
Probably the part that a lot of people were there for or tuned in for. John, chef, starts revealing some chef tricks and tips as he's getting into the heart of it, the goulash, the schnitzel. Little tips and tricks that you might not know if you weren't a seasoned professional.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I always like onions. I always like to cook my onions down,
Which means?
which means I like to have at least that nice translucent look to them. A lot of people don't realize it, but onions are 6 times sweeter than sugar. Yes. So it's just the fact that they have, what is it? You know how they got the bitterness to it, what makes you cry. So that is in there. So that's like a bitterness, so that animals don't eat it. But once you cook that bitterness out of it, and then that's where that sugar comes. And that's why I like caramelized onions, when you take beautiful caramelized onions and cook them down.
Want it in there? Because I'm not
I
gonna
found a
get that bit
trick.
out.
If you guys want to collect local tomatoes, God, I wish I knew this years ago. Get your local tomatoes when they're at season and you have a nice deep freeze. Throw them in a bag, throw them in the deep freezer. When you go to make a tomato sauce or something like that, pull them out and throw them into a bucket of water, and the skins peel right off.
Right.
Literally, you just drop them in the water, skins peel right off, dice them up, and you've got this beautiful, nice...
Yeah, exactly.
Skip the blanching. It's way less work. Like,
Started the pounding.
And so what you're really doing with this, like the purpose behind the pounding, is you're just breaking down all that tendon, all that musculature, right? You're breaking it down so it's super soft
You're
super
giving
tender.
it tender.
Yeah.
Most exciting part of what's going on to the being recorded right now.
Do you mind if I take a picture of the
Go right
You
ahead.
absolutely,
Come
yeah,
on up.
yeah. You're all welcome to participate as much as you like.
Yeah, you can almost turn that down a little bit.
Yeah.
I will tell you a thing that if you go to Austria and you order schnitzel,
Yeah.
they have a rule there. If you order schnitzel and 10 minutes later you don't hear, you leave.
Supposed to be made to order. Yeah.
No,
To order.
to order. They're very sticklers
Why is
about
that?
that.
Like, is there an advantage?
It is, well, the perfect schnitzel, I'm hoping I can pull this off, is basically, rarely happens, but basically you get a bubble of air between the meat and the breadcrumbs on both sides. And so that is that, so you get that really crunchy crisp of the breadcrumbs, and yeah, you've got this nice tender piece of meat that's not overcooked, right?
So yeah, so if you've had it done, if it was pre-made, that would either collapse, or it wouldn't do it to begin with. It wouldn't expand.
The breadcrumbs would get too much moisture in there,
Right.
so it doesn't. So the meat would sweat into the breadcrumbs, so you're not getting that.
And then John talked about his history of what this menu is to him and the variety of schnitzels he's done and where he's done them and where he got the start and why this was a Bavarian menu.
Then we'll go with Bavarian. I was calling it a Germanic,
Right. Yeah.
just because I was kind of encompassing a couple regions. So German, Austrian,
Right.
little
Exactly.
Hungarian,
Yeah.
all those regions.
So yeah, and we got a bit of an overview here and some audience participation again.
We used to do that back in the day. So yeah, I mean, we would do a whole bunch of them. So we would do the Kingfisher schnitzel was the biggest popular one. It was sautéed prawns with a bunch of sautéed prawns and hollandaise sauce on top of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We had the Rom schnitzel. Ooh, that's too far.
Yeah.
Rom schnitzel, which was unbreaded schnitzel, so just a pork cutlet. And then we would put, God, put me on the spot. It was a lemon cream sauce, a lemon cream demi-glaze. We had the Zigeuner. Wait, Zwiebel was a red wine onion sauce on top of it. Zigeuner was like a Hungarian goulash. So a rich peppery sauce with mustard, paprika, and pickles in it. And that went on. That was one of my personal favorites. Yeah, beautiful one. We had then the.
I'm a huge mushroom fan, so I use generally Jaeger, yeah, or Hunter.
The Hunter, yeah, the Jaeger. So we did, and that's what we had. We had the Jaeger schnitzel, which was without the breadcrumbs on, and then we had the Hunter, which was with the mushroom bacon sauce.
Nice.
Which was, I think we just took off the menu at Locals. It was on our.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we had it on the mixed grill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as we're wrapping up, I got to plug one of my other gigs where I've been doing articles for CV Collective magazine, including my past issues and the upcoming Garlic episode. So please take a look at the next issue of CV magazine for that.
And we have a whole episode we did way back on garlic. Didn't
Way
we?
back with
Yeah.
Arzina. And I touch in with Arzina again for this issue.
That's awesome.
From Amara Farms.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, they are really great. We're doing a vegan tart at the moment at the Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
And we're using Amara Farms blackberries for that. It's delicious.
That
She's
sounds
amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Big supporter and big person who pushed this podcast for
Yeah.
us in the beginning.
You know what? I'm about to write an article for Garlic to CV Magazine next week.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you educate me on garbage cake?
Darren's writing for CV.
Yeah, I write for the Comox Valley Collective magazine that you see for free around town. I write the food articles there right now. So this next one's on garlic,
see you in 2 weeks, and you're talking about garlic scapes, so let's talk about this.
Garlic scapes.
Yeah.
Everyone use garlic scapes here? What's that?
Yeah, they've just asked me to start including recipe of my choice. So the last episode or the last issue I did was mushrooms, and I included a mushroom soup recipe using local mushrooms. Yeah. And then we wrap it up with dessert. John's ice cream and strudel made right before your eyes.
Yeah, well, as we shipped it off into the back and made Leah, who was a little disappointed as she's packing salad in the commercial kitchen they have there. And she's like, I have to turn the oven on to 4.
She's stuck in the kitchen, and she said, I just looked up, and she's like, we do 500 bags of greens a week now. And she's stuffing, and then we're like, oh, by the way, can you stand beside this oven in this kitchen while this strudel cooks? Okay, so what have we added so far?
So wait, threw in a little bit of milk. We threw in a little bit of sugar, and basically we're just going to stir this just to dissolve everything out.
So the yogurt and cream.
Yes, and I do have a thing of vanilla, and unfortunately I made some ice cream, and I spilt my vanilla, and that was all.
Oh no!
I saved
How's
it.
the strudel eating?
It's out of the oven.
Oh, first, perfect.
Darren, I'm going to let you stir this for a second.
My
and
goodness,
I'm
you think
gonna
I can handle
run
it?
and get our other little device here.
Okay.
'Cause I could send you, but I think this will just be quicker.
Okay.
I'll knock everything over here. This is how the ice cream started. Is I bought this.
This is the genesis of
That
Blue
was what
Spruce.
started. It was literally
Well, that sounds absolutely great. I'm genuinely really sorry I missed that. It sounds like a really, really good day. I like the surprises there that John did. I would have loved to have seen Darren do the washing up, although maybe I would have been doing the washing up.
It's quite possible. Actually,
Wow.
no, I even said that. We talked about that. We imagined your role to be more the host, and I would have just been supporting John.
Right, okay,
So yeah. But yeah, we missed you there, but we're glad everything worked out. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Look forward to being able to do something like that again.
Definitely.
I have a feeling we're going to do this
Yeah.
a few more times.
Great.
And we're going to make sure Will's got his residency card.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to stress about those things.
Yeah.
There'll be other stresses, but
Always.
we can do this,
So, and something I think we should mention before we cut this is we are looking at developing a Patreon program of some sort. And just so that you can see what that would give you or what kind of access that would give you, we're just going to put up the full 2-hour unedited recording while we're there at the Clever Crow. Eventually, probably we'd have it recorded with video as well. But those are the kind of things that if you supported us on Patreon, you would have access to.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, it would be almost access to that because we're going to have the camera work to show you how you can do everything as well, wherever you are in the world. So it'd be a lot of value we were packing into that.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd be literally getting John walking you through 8 recipes right there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
it should be something fun for the future for us. So.
Yeah, looking forward to all of these new developments.
And we do actually have on our Edible Valley site, we do have Patreon set up, so it's a $5 a month subscription.
Great.
And I think we're promising just to thank you for being a supporter of our podcast right now. And that's going to expand as we
generate more content that we feel is targeted perfectly for the Patreons.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. Well, thank you for taking me through that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for everything. We had such a great time. Again, like I said, glad everything worked out. And thanks for listening to the Edible Valley podcast.
And what's your role again, Darren?
From Darren Howlett, the dishwasher. Thank you.
I still get to be chef, right?
You can just be chef.
I'll just be chef today.
And I'm William. I'm the producer. And we hope you have a lovely day. Cheers.
And that wraps up another episode of the Edible Valley podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and a special thanks goes to the local businesses that help support our podcast. They make it possible for us to showcase your local food community. We'd love you to follow us on your preferred social media at Edible Valley, where you can check out our blog, find recipes and tips, behind the scenes, and of course keep a lookout for where we are going to turn up next in your Edible Valley.
Sounds good. But yeah, this is all John's show. I think the idea was that we were going to try to make a podcast or try to fit this into a podcast. But I think now what we'll just do is just do this and take whatever we get and turn it into a podcast after.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The world of editing.
The
Yeah,
world of
exactly. We'll
editing.
just edit it into something.
And this has been an Edible Valley production.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. Ready again?